Hi everyone, this is Mr. Q. We're going to talk about very in-depth content today. Range. Let's take a look at the next two hands first.
Greenwood, 6-5 of diamonds.
Here's an ante.
Pretty playable hand.
Drag that in.
Okay, go check out what's going on.
I got a shot here.
White Kenyong, pocket tens.
Break out with the 7-5. Clubs in position. Seems every time Greenwood raises, it goes 4 or 5 way.
Yeah. So when you play like hands like 6-5, earlier he had ace-7, they're hard to play in 4-way pots. These small pre-flop raise sizes don't clear out your opponents that well in these kind of deep stack cash games. Greenwood is under a gun. Flops an inside straight draw. Does he think he should bet? He's just gonna check. So Wykin betting here. Rui Cal, of course. You like the way he plays so fast?
Yeah. Always instantly does something. Just makes up his mind really quickly. Has a really good knack for just planning out the hand, knowing how he wants to continue, what his future streets are going to look like.
Tan Xuan, he's going to call as well. Got the inside straight draw. Greenwood actually has a draw to the nut straight. He would close the action if he can hit a 4. Greenwood's going to make the call. Not too often you see 4 people to the flop, 4 people calling a bet on the flop on such a low board that's not even that connected. So Rui Cal makes a flush.
White Kenyong has a 10 of clubs. It's really unlikely somebody has a king here. He's mostly going to be afraid of a 3 or a flush. But he instantly checks.
Checks to Rui Cal. Rui Cal checks back a flush.
Wow.
He lets Wykin get there. Try to get a little bit sneaky. Greenwood sitting here with 6 high. Thinking, is there a way he can represent the ace of clubs right now?
He is a pre-flop raiser. He's the one most likely to have it.
Yeah, from under the gun. It's crossing his mind. Oh, Greenwood's thinking about this. This would get a lot of credit. Oh, Greenwood firing out. Reaching for chips.
This is a really great bet. Very smartly done.
The key in this hand is the river. After the jack of clubs was dealt on the river, why did Greenwood suddenly decide to lead playing a scale of less than half a pot? And the rest of the field, including the guy with the clubs T7, they all just folded without even thinking about it. The reason is that Greenwood is the most likely of the 4 to have the ace of clubs. The reason is that he raises pre-flop at UTG position. Of course, we as spectators can see that his hand is a 5-6 flush. Usually a raise at the UTG is a very strong hand, and everyone else just calls. Of course, calling doesn't mean they don't have an ace of clubs. All that can be said is that Greenwood is more likely to raise at UTG position with an ace of clubs. Bluffing this hand was successful because Greenwood utilized his range effectively, and it's clear that everyone else in the room agrees with this range, and so folded the hand. Lots of other bluffing success stories. It's really all about bluffing successes who effectively use their range to their advantage. Provided your opponent knows what range is, of course. Let's look at another hand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't see no
He'll be learning like
Yeah,
a new game seems like a challenge. Yeah.
Right, so Elton Sang with Queen Jack suited, he's dominated by Paul Foy, but on this flop that doesn't really matter, so really big straight draw there for Elton. He's gonna bet at it as the pre-flop raiser. 45,000. Blank on the turn. Elton has to decide here, how often does Paul have a hand like 10s or even jacks? A hand like King 9, and how often can I get him away from that? It's 90 million won. Oh, that's pretty strong hand here, but he is up against an under-the-gun raise. Gonna be slightly concerned that he's up against King, Queen, or Ace, King. That makes all the difference in the world for him. Now he ties against those hands. Kickers don't matter anymore as long as they both have a king. They will tie. Very nice check from Elton. This is one of the worst possible cards to make a bluff on. $315,000 in the middle.
That was a relief. That was a relief. Yeah. You can't imagine Jay will be ruining any new game approaches. I can't imagine Jay will be ruining.
He's saving some face here.
Yeah.
Just want to let Paul know that he was bluffing. Where is he? Oh my god, he check raises. Wow, what an insane move. Makes it 700,000 with queen high on a board that's this dry. You can tell from Paul's reaction, he really doesn't like this. He loses to tens, aces, and a deuce. This is really gutsy. $700,000 check raise with queen high. This is why we love Elton Sang. We don't see people make moves like this. They give up, they think, oh, my opponent's gonna have a king here. To attempt to make your opponent fold a king here is, like I said, very gutsy. Big heart. Yeah, sure, I'll take some water. That's fine. No problem. You have some steel in your spine if you make moves like this.
Call. Fuck, that was like the
Just make the call.
stupidest thing I could have ever done.
Show me your gut.
I was like telling myself to fold.
Show me your gut.
Huh? I don't show!
Don't show. I
your
can see.
gut.
Huh? I like tomorrow.
This is the hand where you might think Elton's messing around. Indeed, he played this hand very unorthodoxly, creative and bold. But he's definitely not messing around. Flop and turn Paul Foy is calling him. It's already very possible that he might have kings. So Elton has pretty much given up on the river. Straight check. But when Paul Foy bet on the river, Elton was suddenly struck by an idea. Why think so long when Paul Foy is holding full house? The answer is still because Elton is the one who raises preflop. There is TTKKAA in his range. In Paul Fua's range, it's much less likely to have these pocket pairs, because if Paul Fua had these hands, he would have made a preflop 3-bet. So preflop action is a criterion for people to judge the range of hands. Of course, it's not like Elton had a pair of T's and K's in this hand, but he does have a possible AA. After Paul Fua finally called, Elton asks why Paul called. After Elton raised, Paul's call is a split at best. Elton meant to say that after check raising his own range is almost always a full house bigger than Paul's. And the answer Paul gave was that if he had AA, one is going to lead betting over pot on the river and not check. Paul's reasoning is very sound, but Elton probably didn't think about it that much. Just thought he could bluff with the range advantage. Usually the preflop raiser's range is infinitely stronger, and after a raise at UTG position, a man with a +1 or +2 at the UTG who just calls and doesn't 3-bet. Most of the time, these guys just don't have as strong of a range. The reason is that at this point, if the UTG +1 is holding a first or second class hand of strength, is not going to want to just call, because calling the pot makes the odds very good for the person behind you. A lot of people behind you could come in with a small hand and call. This will make it very hard for the guy with the big hand to play. So 3-betting preflop is a good tactic to use. On one hand, you can use the positional advantage to grab the initiative, and it's easier to play after the flop. Secondly, you can extend your range to the highest range. Thirdly, you can isolate the less powerful players behind you. Mr. Q highly recommends trying to 3-bet if you have a very strong hand. We say that a preflop raise or 3-bet 4-bet has no limit to the amount of power it can hold. The reverse actually works as well. These two hands bluffed very well one hand and bluffed almost successfully the other. The main reason for this is the range. I'm sure you all have a good understanding of a range after looking at these two hands again. I hope this video will help all players. See you next time.